Welcome.
It's time for the further adventures of Indiana Jones.
I could have been your greatest adventure.
No, Frankly, no!
Pack your bag, grab your passport, and prepare to go globetrotting with Marvel Comics' classic four-color adventures of Indiana Jones.
Indiana Jones.
So what are you supposed to be, a lion tamer?
I'm a tenured professor of archaeology.
That's gonna be a big help.
I'm here now. What do you want to talk about?
Welcome, Further fans. I'm Joe Stuber, he's Keith Voss, and this is the 150th episode of the IndyCast. Keith, 150 episodes, I can't believe it.
Neither.
When did you jump on board?
Oh boy, let's see. It must have been a few months after I first moved to Austria in 2008. I mean, Indy was on the horizon. Indy 4 was on the horizon. So I was online looking for anything having to do with Indiana Jones, and I found the IndyCast. And I remember jumping on board with I think it was episode 20, Ed's quick interview with John Rhys Davies, and then I started getting involved with the IndyCast when I was writing in to answer one of Pat's trivia questions. I don't remember exactly which episode that was, but that's when I really started getting involved, when I started hearing those trivia questions.
Yeah, similar story here. Mine was a bit later, though. I think it was a full-on indie mode at that point. Just looking for something indie-related. It was after Crystal Skull had come out, and I saw the podcast. It was on iTunes. Downloaded it. Been in love with that ever since. I think it was like episode 47 or something I jumped in.
Oh, yeah.
Somewhere in the mid-late 40s. I know I was a sort of a latecomer, but...
A little bit of a latecomer, but that's okay.
But no, and we sort of met through the trivia segment, a couple of heated battles with the trivia segment, to say the least.
Sure.
And
we became friends because of it. I mean, that's how it worked out.
And I tell you what, we're speaking for both of us. We just want to thank Ed too for giving us this platform. I know we've done that a few times, but 150 episodes in seems like the perfect time to do that. And we think about the entire cast of characters on the IndyCast: Mitch, Ed, Pat, Rob, Laird, Ron, everybody. We're happy to be a part of it, and we're thankful that we're able to be a part of it.
Absolutely. Thanks a lot, guys. And hopefully we'll do 150 more episodes.
Exactly. Well, Keith, we're 20 segments in. Seems like a baby compared to the IndyCast.
Oh, my goodness, yes.
But I'm telling you what, it's been nothing but nonstop Indy action the entire time. And cliffhangers, too.
Well, I mean, will we expect anything less in the world of Indiana Jones and the IndyCast? I mean, when we left Indy and Marion in a doozy of a cliffhanger last time, it's Crystal Death, Chapter 2 of Africa Scream!
Oh, we've got to name her. Yeah, we talked about that last time. Well, I guess we do have a few.
We got a couple of suggestions. I mean, on our Facebook page, we got a couple of suggestions from Harry Doolittle III. He suggested Helga, Frederica, Gertrude, and another one from Renee DeClaire. I hope I'm saying your name right, Renee. If not, I'm really sorry. He suggested Alarm Central Annie, and another of our listeners suggested another name, which we'll mention later on in our mailbox. We have a couple coming in, so
those are great.
Interesting stuff. Yeah, I mean, I think Frau Forbissina has been taken.
Lies. Oh, lies!
Buka!
Oh, my goodness.
That's my vote. I don't know. Do I get a vote? I don't know.
No, you don't.
Okay.
So
we'll figure it out. Yeah, keep those names coming in. And if you like any of those that you've heard, if you got one of your own, let us know. We're going to pick one at some point here. And, we really have to name her.
It's the contest without a prize, but you will.
It is. It's not that we won't eventually have one, but we just don't have one right now. But Keith, the prize is just it'll keep on giving. It's the gift that keeps on giving, because you'll get to hear every episode of the IndyCast.
That's right, bragging rights too.
And hey, you know what? We forgot to mention the last episode that this two-part story that we're talking about here was actually adapted into a gaming module for TSR's The Adventures of Indiana Jones. And we'll put some of those pictures up on our Facebook page. But, it's Crystal Death. It's got some interesting artwork in there, too, based upon these adventures. And the illustrations were by Jeff Easley. So we'll get some of those examples up on our Facebook page. Kind of cool to look at.
Yeah, it's very cool. A lot of the TSR modules were taken from the Further Adventures of Indiana Jones. So for us, I mean, we love that stuff. So very, very cool.
Well, Keith, why don't you go ahead and run down the creators on part 2 of Africa Screams.
Let's do it. We got Africa Screams, Chapter 2, Crystal Death, with a cover date of August 1983. And the cover, although it is falsely credited to Kerry Gamble in the omnibus, it was actually done by Howard Chaykin, as we revealed before on the show. Script was by David Michelinie, line art by Kerry Gamble and Sam De La Rosa, colors by Paul Becton, and letters by Janice Chang.
We're all about education here on Further Adventure segment on the
Yes,
IndyCast.
we are.
Yes, and I tell you what, let's talk about that cover.
Oh,
We've said it
God.
before. I don't know what Kerry Gamble would have done with the cover, but I'm telling you what, we've said it before, and I'll say it again. Best cover of the series, hands down for me.
Hands down. We can't say any more than that besides, where did Marion get that gun? Because she doesn't have it in the issue.
She doesn't have it in the issue, but I'm glad she has it on the cover here. That is just awesome. I mean, you've got the skull in the background. So, I mean, perfect backdrop for any Indiana
Absolutely.
Jones adventure. They're in trouble. They're cornered. They've got spears coming at them. Indy's got the guns drawn right at the camera. The fedora is perfect. Indy's look is perfect. The grimace, Marion's face. She's wearing something that is appropriate for an adventure. For once, we talked about that before.
His whip is around his shoulder. They're ready. Yeah, they are ready for action, and that's what this book promises too. It just promises full-on action.
Absolutely. And we get right into it. As we mentioned, the cliffhanger from the last issue, Indy and Marion hiding out from the Nazis in a cave. Man, that noise right behind them, though. Something is amiss.
Yeah, Indy and Marion are in trouble with a capital T.
Trouble with a capital T, and that rhymes with P, and that stands for pool.
Yeah, they're in trouble, and that starts with T, and it rhymes with P, and that stands for Panther.
Yeah, there is a panther right behind them. But I mean, I love how they have to be really quiet in the cave, or else it's like,
Don't scream.
Don't scream. Let's be quiet, because if we scream, the Nazis will find us.
Right. I'll take my chances with the Nazis, I think, at this point.
Yeah, at this point, but they have to get out of there. Indy's quick thinker. Thanks to some dry grass, Indy lights the cave on fire. They make a run for it. With that fire now being lit and a panther growling, they're kind of discovered here, Joe. Let's be honest. The Nazis draw a bead on them. I mean, the interesting line here: cut them down like ripe wheat at harvest time. Man.
Yeah, but that particular Nazi doesn't get the line completely out, because obviously Marion and Indy make their escape, but that panther gets out too and takes him out.
That's true. And is it just me, or is it just the page before that? Where Indy is actually lighting the dry grass, the way the panther is drawn. Haven't I seen like a million tattoos of that same panther? It looks like
It's a new line of work for Mr. Gamble.
Exactly, the infamous panther tattoo that I've seen.
Maybe those are Kerry Gamble's, yeah. But
So
the panther takes the Nazi out. Indy and Marion make their escape into the jungle, and here we get some expositional dialogue by David Michelinie. Again, these two-part adventures. Sort of, that was the theory in Marvel at the time. They didn't. Jim Shooter he wanted the single issues in case somebody just jumped on board. But when they had these cliffhangers, that was sort of the thing. Just bring people up to speed in case they missed issue 7.
Well, it's okay. It was the same thing in the movies too. I mean, Indy would give us some expositional dialogue. He did that in Crystal Skull. And we got to get to Akador before they do.
Yeah,
things like that. So I mean, that's okay. I didn't mind that so much.
No.
It's made clear that they're not looking for Atlantis. They're looking for relics of the Shintai, who are outcasts of Atlantis. So I mean, it just kind of makes the goals a little bit clearer here.
Yeah, but they seem to have found more than just relics of the civilization. I mean, they've found something of the civilization, and that is a great. We talked about this last issue. That's a great circular panel by Kerry Gamble, sort of bringing in that old Republic serial feel of these things. I just love the design of this. I love the layout.
That's right, and not only that, we get an arrow that barely misses Indy's head in that little circular.
It's a great
panel.
reaction too. Isn't
It is. And it turns out that it is the Shintai, 8 feet tall with fair skin.
Yeah, because Mary was saying, it's a native. Well, that's not a native. That's somebody different.
African
Yeah, 8
native.
feet tall. No, huh? But Indy also spots something else significant. He spots a medallion which matches the seal on the Shintai map that was discovered last issue. So, really tying it all together. So he knows that this is more than just relics going on. This could be a descendant of the Shintai.
That's true, but it doesn't seem like Marion really cares. She just wants Indy to blow him away. I mean,
no, I thought that was odd, didn't you? I mean, it's just like, blow him away!
Shoot him now! Shoot him now!
No!
Well, I mean, she's scared here. I mean, the guy has a crossbow aimed right at them, and you know.
But this is something different. I mean, they're looking at something different here, and this is what they're there to find. I mean, she's there supposedly as a reporter, as a journalist, this new career that she started to get. So what? Blow them away? No, aren't we going to try to find out more about this civilization? I don't know. It just seemed like
honestly,
an odd thing.
it doesn't matter, Joe, because someone else does the deed. someone else blows them away.
It's just like
Corporal Brunner just wastes them like without hesitation.
Yeah, this isn't an Archie comic book, by the way. I mean, this isn't a Richie Rich comic. There's some adult fare going on here.
Definitely, and this is just the first of many moments. It gets pretty dark, this issue, to be honest, later on in the issue. But MacGyver spots exactly what Indy discovered.
Yeah, we got MacGyver back.
MacGyver's back, and no, not MacGyver. It is MacGyver. I learned that lesson the hard way last time. But he's thinking money.
Yeah, did he remind you of Mac a little bit?
Well, MacGyver?
Mac?
Yeah,
Mac-Iver?
maybe. I don't know. Maybe another connection to the film series. I don't know.
But it's interesting how each player wants something different. Indy obviously is thinking about the lost culture. He's thinking about the relics. He's thinking about archaeology. He's thinking about learning. MacIver wants, as you mentioned, the money. He wants the lost treasure. Yep.
And the Nazis. Yeah, the Nazis, of course, we all know what they want. They want to discover the lost power.
Exactly. So everybody's got a little something here that they want to get. The Nazis, what they want is to wipe everybody out.
Well, they probably should have looked around them first because they seem to be surrounded by the Shinte. The Shinte get the drop on them.
Why would they think there's only one there? I mean, it's not like you're talking about a civilization of people.
Yeah, but they don't know that yet. They don't know exactly what they're dealing with or what kind of weapons they have. But they do get the drop on them, and the Nazis are more than willing to just kind of go along with what the Shinte want at this point. Even Vogel says, we'll have to play their game their way for now.
Yeah, so they all kind of get let off. They're captured. Marion, I don't know. It just goes from blow them away to now she's kind of a Debbie Downer in this other panel.
Well, I mean, she's surrounded by the Shinte. She's surrounded by Nazis, so she probably isn't seeing the high side of things right now. But
I guess my story will make a swell companion piece to my obituary. I mean, come on, you're with Indiana Jones. He gets out of everything.
Yeah, he gets out of everything. But who knows? Who knows, Joe?
Who knows? I do know one thing, Keith. This panel on the next page, that's my favorite panel of this issue. It kind of reminds me of the raft scene as they're going through the Congo in the last issue, in issue number 7. Gamble is really setting the mood here. Look at that skull cave. That's awesome.
It's basically saying, you're doomed.
That is a Temple of Doom right there. That looks like a Temple of Doom.
Without a doubt. I mean, you're walking into that skull mouth, and I agree. I think that's also my favorite panel. I mean, it also calls back to the great cover by Howard Chaykin, that skull backdrop, and
does this issue tie together? I mean, unbelievable.
Yeah, it's true. Gamble and Michelini really knock it out of the park here. They write it's a scene out of some opium den phantasm.
I love that language.
For before them lies a fortress built in a shape both grisly and grotesque, an edifice molded of mud and sun-bleached bone, human bone, animal bone, and bone from creatures no modern man has ever set eyes upon. I mean, amazing stuff. Great writing here. And it's interesting, we mentioned last segment about the connections to Fate of Atlantis by Dark Horse. The bone from the creatures no modern man has ever set upon. And it could also call back to the Fate of Atlantis series with the God Machine turning the citizens of Atlantis into these deformed beings. It could also be connected that way as well.
Yeah, exactly. These adventures really do tie in well together. And so we've got the mood set with the storytelling. We've got the mood set with the visuals. Perfect, as our group is led to the leader of the Shinte descendants, King Viperian Rex.
The king!
That's quite a name, isn't it? Viperian
Rex. That's a cool one, though. I like it. That's a great villain.
One.
That's a great indie villain name. I love it.
Absolutely. And he speaks English.
He does. He doesn't want a lot of attention brought to their civilization, but he tells them that in British accent. How is that possible? Marion wants to know.
That's like a limey butler.
That's what he says. Yeah,
it's just so funny. And
she doesn't pull any punches, verbally or physically.
It wouldn't be Marion if she did. Right. So that part of her character is definitely still well played in the issue. And he was. It seems like Viperian Rex is taught by a British missionary.
Yeah, who's still in the issue here. Yeah,
he
makes
still
an appearance.
There. He is still there in the
skull.
Shinhei. That's right. That was him, and his skull is part of the backdrop there.
Yeah,
very
that
cool
really
stuff.
tells us what we need to know about the Shinhei too, because they were banished from Atlantis for worshiping death, not life. Well,
That's right.
The guy teaches them English, and all of a sudden he's dead. So, and they
right.
like make a big display out of his skull.
Yeah, that's true. But Indy, like any good hero, he's caught between a rock and a hard place, and he gets the villain monologuing. I mean, would it be an Indiana Jones villain? Would it be a villain at all if the villain didn't monologue at least a little bit?
You got to get him monologuing. Hey, he's got to stay alive. He's Indiana Jones.
That's right. And
then we've got Vogel, who just comes in and he's like, this power thing, you said something about power. So he's like one-track mind, is just, he wants the power.
Like all Nazis do.
That's
and
what he wants.
embodied in that power, in those crystal orbs, which are very, very interesting looking. The big skull hand holding these huge crystal orbs.
Yeah, again, great stuff by Gamble.
Yeah, visually, I mean, the artwork throughout these are just amazing. And also, like we've mentioned before, the omnibuses. If you guys haven't picked up the omnibuses, do so, because the colors are so vibrant and they look absolutely amazing.
Yeah, you got this like pinkish purplish hue on these orbs that were used to supply power to light, and also, interestingly enough, to guard the fortress.
That's right.
So that's what they're there for. That's why they can't get out.
Yeah, and embodied in those crystal orbs is soil quarried from Atlantis itself. So it focuses the energy from the Earth to tear apart this guy. I mean, yeah, he's a Nazi, but I still feel bad for him. I mean, look at this guy. He's just absolutely like...
Yeah, he gets a full-on end of Raiders treatment here, or end of Crystal Skull kind of treatment.
But then look at Vogel's face. He's just realizing, oh my God, this is amazing. This will...
Yeah, basically, I mean, you turn this orb, I mean, one way it's protecting and providing light and everything, and then you turn it another way, and it just rips you apart when you're attached to this pole from the inside out.
Yeah, so
kind of grisly, and again, not a Richie Rich comic book here.
No, definitely not. I mean, you see the screams, you see the guy just like, being torn apart, and that last panel, he's just nothing but bones.
Yeah, exactly.
It's something to be added to the background again.
Yeah, and talking about the artwork, not just Gamble's art, but really the inking and the coloring job done with this issue. I'm telling you, it all comes together. Sam De La Rosa on the inks, Paul Becton, you mentioned him earlier, on the coloring. Perfect job. I mean, really setting the mood. You see the glow on the faces of everybody just recoiling in horror in that one panel. Good stuff.
Yeah, lots of detail here. I mean, it just goes on and on to within the story, especially when Indy and the Nazis, along with MacGyver, are brought to the adjoining tower where the walls of skulls grin mockingly, knowingly. They're being held captive now, and turns out it's not just a holding cell here, Joe.
No, I mean, they're trapped in there, but they notice like something, the texture on the floor. So they're locked in, but Indy's noticing something about the floor, and he's thinking it might be some sort of petrification. So it was something unusual to him in there.
And did you also notice how Indy puts his hat down over his eyes? It's really very Temple of Doom-like. I don't remember him doing that in Raiders.
No, and we sort of look back, and he's done that several times in the movies, but I'm not recalling. I mean, my first thought was on the plane to Nepal, but I'm thinking, is it the hat up or I think it was the hat up.
Yeah, I think the hat was up. Interesting. So just a nice little...
hat down and temple, but yeah, that's another precursor.
Yeah, exactly. A nice little attention to detail.
That's cool. Yeah, but I mean, they know they're trapped in there. There's nothing they can do about it right now, so they're just going to kind of wait everything out. So yeah, Indy, the Nazis are going to work together. MacGyver wants to work with them. They ask, hey, look, common enemy, Jones, you went in on the deal too? He's like, you know what?
Nah,
I'm kind of on my own.
Indy's on his own. Yeah. Indy's on his own here. And
the way we like
at that
him.
Point, Exactly. And the sun starts to rise, the light is concentrated through the crystal orbs, and what we get is searing white-hot death.
Yeah, once this comes through and it hits those orbs, it's almost like a laser effect that comes through.
Laser.
Using these lasers, it's headed right for Indy.
Did you get like a Goldfinger vibe on this one too? Just sort of that,
yes.
Do you expect me to talk? No, Mr. Bond, I expect you to die.
Yes, of course, and it absolutely. But Indy gets saved from one of those searing lasers from a Nazi.
Yeah, well, I mean, the beam is like an inch from his head, and all of a sudden, the Nazi kind of like turns over in his sleep, and like his arm falls right on Indy.
Great bit of like escapism without actually being escapism. I mean, it's a very cool little moment for me.
It's just those cool little Indy moments that he just gets out of scrapes. Sometimes he doesn't even know how he gets out of them.
Yeah, exactly. But then we get the shining full strength of the sun, and it just starts tearing everybody apart.
Yeah,
These
deadly.
beams start cutting through, and it's very cinematic. You can just hear the screams. You can hear the sounds that the lasers are making that are coming through the ceiling. Very, very cool stuff here by Gamel.
And the Nazis are
Crystal death, Joe.
Crystal death. There's our crystal death.
Exactly.
But yeah, and it's like and like don't move. Who was it? Vogel was like screaming, "Do not panic! Don't move! You're going to walk right into him." And so, a couple of them do. But Indy's got an idea. He's always got an idea. He's always got it. Yeah, and good thing Marion was along, and good thing she brought her makeup case.
The compact. I gotta say,
why did she have that?
Yeah, I mean,
really, that's what you're taking on an African Congo.
I mean, maybe Willie, but not Marion.
Mm-hmm. She didn't have a compact, and she certainly wouldn't say that line, too. Yeah, what are you, crazy, Jones? This is no time to fix your face. Come on. Okay. Michelini's dialogue in this issue is fantastic.
It is.
Not there.
Not there. I gotta say, that's the only
joke.
Exception. It's the only exception in the whole book.
In the whole book. Just one panel. Yeah, come on, get rid of that. That could have been. She could have said something like, "Oh, I see where you're going with this," or or maybe maybe have her come up with the idea.
Yeah, absolutely. But
either way, it works. He redirects the beam into the lock. It busts the lock out. But now we saw why that floor was so scorched, why that petrification was coming in. Because that's what happens when the sun comes up. It just comes in and just scorches that entire floor.
And whoever's in it.
But Indy and Marion are not in there anymore, so they make their escape right into the hands. Oh, look, Indy, there's a guard outside the door.
Not any guard. It's an 8-foot-tall Shinte guard.
Man.
But he gets even more help from Marion, but this time it's not a frying pan.
Nope. This time it's what is that? Like I don't know
like
what
a
you
piece
got.
of the door.
Oh, a piece of the door. Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah,
because of the way the door is colored. The door is colored green, and when they break the door open, you can see a piece in that top left panel. It gets broken off. So she picks up a piece of that door and whacks him over the head.
She's still complaining about the compact, though. I don't know. Too bad puns, but anyway,
Well, she's such a sucker for sentiment, Joe.
Yeah, of course she is. And the Nazis are just suckers because they're just like they're not going to worry about getting out. They're worried about. He's still worried about the power. Vogel's still worried. To the throne room, Schnell. So it's like seriously, dude, let's get out of here. He's like, no, I want the power. So he's going one way. Indy and Marion are going the other way. Indy and Marion, boy, another. They just pick the wrong rooms each time.
Yeah, unfortunately, they make their way into an archery range.
Yeah, and then this is really what brings our cover to life. Now, here's where we go. They're in the archery range.
Yeah, they're moving targets for the Shinte now, and it's interesting. We get a little Jabba the Hutt reference. I wouldn't say it's a Jabba the Hutt reference, but the Shinte mention Jabba. Una Jabba Sasa. So, there you go. Jabba the Hutt.
Oh. Jabba the Hutt, Indiana Jones, Star Wars Indy, it all comes together.
It all comes together. It's the same universe. So,
and Vogel makes it to the throne room.
Yeah, Viperian Rex ends up as a target for Vogel.
Yeah, a quick target. I mean, he makes pretty quick work out of Rex here. Just takes him out. I mean, basically, that's it.
I mean, they take out all the other Shinte in the room too. Hello, anybody? Uga, Russians, Crystal Skull, same thing there. I mean,
yeah, exactly.
They're just wasting everybody. But MacGyver is, I mean, he's starting to maybe rethink this whole thing, and this is what I like about MacGyver's character. He is very, very much like Belloc here. He's starting to think like, you know what, these guys are they've helped me get here, but I'm not quite. I mean, they're not my friends.
Right.
Like exactly.
Well,
what
no,
Belloc
they're business associates, and business is bad right now.
Yeah,
this isn't going bad. Vogel's trying to grab the orb from the hand, the sort of bony hand coming off of it, and he's trying to wrest it from its place. And MacGyver just really doesn't want any of this.
Well, because he doesn't know anything about this power. I mean, he doesn't know what it really can do. He's seen what he can do, but he doesn't know what's behind this type of power. And
he doesn't want to come in his way.
No, definitely not. I mean, would you?
No, I don't. No, I'd be with Indian and Marion in the compact case, heading out the door.
As long as you had a compact, Joe, then you'd be fine. But besides, if you know,
I'm out of here. I'm out of the pre-Temple of Doom.
But I mean, McIver even mentions his power we know nothing about. We should just go slow here, and we'll figure it out. But Vogel, I mean, he's power mad. He's crazy. He's the future, Joe. He even says it.
Yeah, well, I don't think he has much of a future, Keith.
No, he doesn't. He grabs that bulb or that orb, and it just starts.
I mean, it's on. I mean, it just
everything
just goes nuts in that place.
Released there,
and it's very reminiscent of the end of Raiders. Just the flash bulbs popping. It kind of mentions that. It says the crystals are popping like flash bulbs. Remember that scene in the end of Raiders when the lights are just exploding?
Oh, yeah,
so we've kind of got that whole vibe again. We've sort of reworked that throughout the different adventures, but I don't know. It still feels fresh to me, even though it's sort of a similar vibe. It still feels pretty cool. You've got the Nazis; they're all melting again here, and McIver, saints in heaven, man, what are you setting free? I mean, he's like he just wants out of there.
I can't say I blame him. I mean, again, we don't know what type of power this really is, and we've seen maybe even just a little bit of it, and I mean. It's a pretty great fight scene here too, with Indy and Marion as the Shintai run in. And Indy
meanwhile, in another chamber of the cave.
Yeah, exactly. Indy's using his whip here, trips up a bunch of Shintai. They get in, they start fighting off the Shintai. Indy makes a really dark comment here.
I thought this was very dark. We talked about in a book of darkness, in a comic book filled with dark moments already. This is probably the darkest moment. He mentions that he has 2 bullets left.
Yeah, and he says, one is for you, one is for me. If they captured us again, well, they might not be too.
Yeah, I thought that was odd.
Too gentle with us.
I thought that was odd for Indy to think like that. I mean, but Michelini went to a dark place there.
He really did. I mean, even the description is Marion's answer is a glance and a grin, both knowing and cold. I mean, God, like that's really some dark stuff.
What's in their past that made them like go to that? I don't know.
Where's Indy's fedora?
I don't know. That's the other thing that's passed is Indy's fedora. I think it gets knocked off in the fight, and I think that's the last we see of it, isn't it?
That's the last we see of it in this issue. It's just gone. I mean, but let's cut back to another part of the.
Meanwhile, in another part.
Meanwhile, in the orb chamber.
Meanwhile, with Vogel.
Yeah, I mean, Vogel just starts losing.
He's an Aryan. He's a Nazi. He's
dead.
Yeah.
or as McIver says, daft as a loon is what ye are.
He's gone.
And a fanatic, and Vogel pulls the orb free.
Yeah, finally wrests it. Yeah, like crazy Indiana Jones stuff.
Yeah, they just got to get out of there. The whole temple starts coming down all around them. The Shintai are trapped inside. Indy and Marion make it out.
Bones are flying everywhere. The whole skull cave is, it looks like a giant skeleton explosion going off.
Fortress's protection is gone now once the orb has been removed. So everything is just coming down.
Yeah, I love Vogel's line there. Perhaps it would be wise to replace the crystals.
Yeah, a little too late there.
No, he's gone.
Late. He realizes his mistake, and that tusk.
Yeah, all the bones coming down. Yeah, and death by tusk.
That's gotta hurt.
That's gotta hurt. It's gotta hurt. Hurt.
Yeah, it does. And we've got it says the Citadel shudders, a structure-wide spasmic death throw that sends the remaining crystal orbs crashing to Earth, shattering the last tenuous constraints on the energy they once controlled, and ba-boom, the whole place goes up.
Yeah,
that's a great
splash page here, which with the temple going up, and looks amazing. Amazing.
So everything's gone. There's nothing left. No remnants. Well, what a wasted trip, right?
No, I wouldn't say that, and neither would Indy. He was he happened to pick up a little souvenir while he was wrestling with the guard outside the cell.
He's Indiana Jones. He's always thinking he's got to get something for the museum. It's a great piece, Marcus. It's a good piece.
It belongs in a museum.
And it will be in a museum.
That's right. But Indy does lose his fedora, unfortunately.
Yeah, too bad for Indy's fedora, but I'm sure he's got spares. And
she's got money. Someone else survived, Joe.
Yes. We've got a hint at a future Further Adventures of Indiana Jones episode here with McIver. Surviving the blast. And he says...
He survived.
let's see, but someday, Professor Jones... Someday. It's
You
not
know,
going
I
to be
gotta say-
long before we see MacGyver again.
I gotta say, I'm kind of glad MacGyver survived because I thought he was really a really good character, a good adversary for Indy. So I'm glad he survived to
Me too.
to terrorize Indy another day.
Can't wait for it. But not the next adventure. The next adventure will be...
The Gold Goddess, one of our favorites.
One of our favorites, and also an IndyCast radio drama.
Yes, go listen to it while you're reading the book.
Hey, why don't we check out some emails?
Mister, get your arm out of that mailbox. I mean now.
Oh, dear me. I haven't had so much trouble delivering a package since the incident in Vienna.
Our first email is from Steve Rivers from Calgary. Hey guys, very interesting email regarding Further Adventures 35 from Stephen Grant. He states that there was never any plot developed for issue 35, but I have reason to believe that there was at least ideas tossed around for it. I seem to recall in a letter page in one of the issues, I can't remember which one at the moment, but it was mentioned that Marion was to return to the series in issue 35 after being absent for many issues. Therefore, I do believe that they had, as to still quote, a germ of an idea for further issues beyond issue 34. Cheers, guys. Hey, thanks, Steve. Thanks for writing in.
Thanks a lot, Steve.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't remember if it was from a letters page. I know there was a reference in one of the Marvel Age solicitations, and I think that might be what you're referring to when it mentioned. I do remember that line of dialogue, or that line.
Me too.
That
Yeah,
tagline
me
being
too.
kind of thrown about. But again, that. As Stephen Grant had mentioned, that might have just been the workings or the writings of the overeager marketing department at Marvel. But yeah, I mean, check it out. If you spot it in one of the letters columns, give us a shot. But I'm thinking if I'm remembering correctly, that might just be the marketing department working overtime on that one.
Our next email comes in from Mark Shanley, and Mark writes, Keith and Joe, as always, I was impressed by your 2-part interview with Kerry Gamble. The effort that both of you put into contacting artists and writers connected with the Indiana Jones comic demonstrates a true appreciation of the medium. I do have a possible name for the Screaming Woman. Oh, here it comes, Joe, what I mentioned at the beginning of our segment. River Screams. It is an allusion to River Song from the new Doctor Who series, who uses the catchphrase spoilers. Well, thanks a lot for your email, Mark. I can't say I'm a big fan of Doctor Who. I've never really seen too much of it, so I don't quite know
I've not
exactly
seen it either.
what you mean there. But River Screams is, I mean, as good as
Good
the
as any
others.
other. Yep, good as any
Exactly.
other one.
So keep them coming in, guys. We really like all the suggestions we're getting.
If you like River Screams, write in. Keith, where can they write?
The furtheradventures at gmail.com. And also, don't forget, we are posting all these names on our Further Adventures Facebook page. So come on over and give us a like. We've gotten a bunch of brand new likes, and we put up all kinds of stuff there. Kerry Gamble artwork and
TSR game artwork.
TSR game stuff, anything that has to do with the Further Adventures of Indiana Jones. Joe and I are there. We put it up. We read everything you guys post. So come on over and say hi. Give us a like, and we look forward to seeing you there. And also, I just want to give a big thanks to Mariano Santangelo, who recorded High Adventure at Comic-Con with 2 N's, playing the Tale of Short Round, a song that I wrote, and it was great. So thanks a lot, Mariano, for putting that. I will post that on the Further Adventures Facebook page for all you guys to see. Please give us some comments. Let us know what you think of the song.
Okay, that's it for the day then.
Well, that's all the time we have for today. Loved this adventure. Especially, I loved wrapping it up on the 150th episode of the IndyCast. Very cool stuff.
Yeah, it was very fitting, wasn't it? Some of the best issues in the run of Further Adventures, and we get to cover it for the 150th episode of the IndyCast, like you mentioned. Thanks a lot again to Ed and the rest of the IndyCast for letting us do this, and to all the listeners out there, we really love hearing from you guys. We really love having a place to come and talk about the Further Adventures and Indiana Jones and share all of our thoughts and everything that we find out about the series with you guys. It's a lot of fun, and like we said before, we hope we get to do this for many, many more episodes.
Long time, yep. And the good stuff keeps coming. A special surprise might be coming up, and our review of The Gold Goddess next time on the Further Adventures of Indiana Jones.